Welcome to Image Academy podcast. I am Mrs. Rios, a school director of Image Academy, where creativity meets storytelling. We started Image Academy with one goal: to help creators turn their vision into powerful stories. Are you ready? So Image Academy was not supposed to be an academy. It was supposed to be a beauty salon. When we first signed our contract, it was for a beauty salon. And the very first day that we received the keys, of course, my handsome dad arrived to the school because he had no idea that I was signing on a contract to lease a suite or rental space. And he came in, he was so excited, he was so happy. He was really pushing me to do something. He did not want me to stay just working for my previous boss, who was my amazing supporter, my amazing boss in that time. And once my dad arrived, he actually was, "Are you sure you want a salon?" I was like, "No, I don't want a beauty salon." Like, even when I went to beauty school, I knew that I always wanted a school. Like, it was always like one of my biggest goals was to open a beauty school. And when my dad arrived, he was like, "So why are you gonna do it?" And I was like, "I don't know, because that's the plan. It's a good idea." I already had my clients. My clients were excited. I knew that I was gonna be busy, but it wasn't something that I really wanted. So my dad was my biggest pusher for me to start a beauty school. And so I did. I actually did it that same day. It had like and I'll show you guys pictures. You guys are eventually going to see them. But it had like a lot of walls in between the whole space. It was not a wide, but it was longer space. And when my dad arrived, he was like, "Okay, so what do we need to do so we can get a school going instead of being a beauty salon?" And I'm like, "Well, this place was already a beauty salon, so has everything to be a beauty salon. I just needed to put my decoration the way that I wanted." But my dad was like, "Okay, if you don't want to do a beauty salon, go for the beauty school, because that's something that you always wanted." So I did. My dad went to his car and he got his work stuff, his work equipment, and he was like, "Okay, which wall do we need to put down?" And he just started breaking the walls, and I went with it. I went with the flow. Mind you, I had not even spoke to my husband or my kids that I was gonna end up doing the school. And that's how we started. So you guys are gonna see pictures of the whole construction. Of course, my husband, the next day when he went to the shop, he saw all those walls and he was in shock that I had done that. It was not me, it was my dad. But he was in shock that I have changed my mind in a couple of hours, because we signed a contract like 7 p.m. It was very like late night. And when he arrived, he was just in shock. He was like, "Are you sure? Do you have any plans ready?" Like, we already had how we're gonna do it. We had a whole vision. Like, we had a whole everything, honestly. We had a whole vision. I had the clients. I had people that I was gonna rent the suites to, the seats to, the salon chairs. We were gonna do we had like the whole project ready, and all of a sudden I had just changed it. But it was not only me, it was my dad too. So let's blame my dad as well, okay? Another awesome thing that also happened when we were creating Image Academy was, just the fact that my husband did not say no to me. He was just like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like, I always wanted a beauty school. Like, I love doing hair, but I love teaching." Mind you, I was a teacher before. I was teaching for 7 years, and actually take that back. It was almost like 8 years. I worked for my boss, Mrs. Green. I worked for her for over 9 years, a little bit over 9 years. I was her teacher there first, and then I was her night instructor, and then I was a school director for one of her newer schools that she had just opened. And I feel like it was my time. I felt like it was my turn for me to do something, and I just went for it. But I was actually going for the beauty salon, not for the beauty school. But thankfully we did it. I was so happy. It was a lot of work. I felt like I don't think I ever been so stressed in my whole entire life until I opened Image Academy. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of investment money, a lot of money. But honestly, it was so worth it. I feel like my kids were a big part of my supporting, because they had to deal with mom not being home, not, there was no mom at some point. It was a whole 6 months where mom was not home. I wasn't also a wife because I was so tired. I was so busy. I was not cooking. I was not washing. Still don't, but I'm just busy, which I love to be busy. Another good thing that happened, it was that, I stayed focused, and I didn't think of how amazing I can be when I stay focused. Like, it was such a great thing for me on my personal level, that I actually challenged myself to do something that I wanted to do. Usually it was like, okay, what do I need to do to grow, but never like something for me until I opened Image Academy. So my advice to anybody that comes into the beauty industry, stay focused. I know beauty schools are hard. I know just coming into something new that you've been wanting, it's not going to be easy. But if you stay focused, I promise it's going to take you to places where you never thought you would be at. That happened to me. I love that it happened to me. It was a lot of work. It was a hard decision because I knew that I needed to do something instead of going with what I wanted. And also changing my whole project that I had planned, not for a couple of months. It was for years. Mind you, I had already purchased all the equipment for the beauty salon years back, like 2 years back. I found it on Facebook Market, and I had someone there selling like chairs, a whole entire salon, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna buy it because that's how I'm gonna push myself to open the salon. And of course, my plans changed, which I still use all of that equipment for the school. So I'm not gonna say I did lose money, but hey, it was worth it. I knew that I wanted to open something, and of course, I had always thought about a beauty salon, but I went for the school, and it was one of my biggest, amazing decisions ever. It was just a game changer, honestly. Because I was doing what I love. So when I come into work, it's not work. I'm coming to enjoy the day with the students that we currently have. And that feeling, it's amazing. It's really great, honestly. It's an amazing feeling because you never feel like you're coming into work. You don't have to sit to staff meetings. You don't have to, come into a work where they're telling you how to do it, what to do. Even when I was a stylist myself, it always felt so amazing because I had a boss every 2 hours. My new clients, the client that I would sit on my chair, it was something new. So just the fact that I had a lot of support from my dad, my husband, and my kids to open Image Academy was amazing. The name also was so amazing how it came out, because I've not been so creative on that side of the industry of like create the name, create the logo. And of course, I didn't want to spend money on getting the marketing team and them doing the work for me, right? So when I think about Image Academy was, okay, what are we selling? Well, we're selling image, when the stylist is doing the service, they're changing the image of the person. So I feel like there's where I really got the name. I was also thinking because our future students were going to be doing services, so they were going to be changing their image to their clients. But of course, I couldn't afford it. So we had a whole different logo to this, okay? It was a logo that I did myself one day, one random night at home. And it was cute too. We had that logo, I want to say for like 2 years. This logo is just recently, we just changed it about a year, I want to say a year ago. We did change it about a year ago. But it was, changes are always good. And yeah, that's how I started with the whole Image Academy, not being an academy, but being a salon. You know, the support that I had from my family was amazing. I felt like it was one of the biggest thing I ever needed, was that, okay, you got it. Okay, you're already in it, so just go with the flow. And I did. I was also out there passing out the flyers. If you guys, you know, if my students that I got from passing out flyers, I used to go to restaurants and be like, oh, hi, I need a drink, and just give them a flyer. I actually went to the high school that we have right behind their shopping center, and I was standing in the corner there. I didn't know that was not something that I was supposed to not do. But hey, I needed students. I had a whole business, had rent to pay, and I was passing out flyers to the students outside the school. Yeah, and I was doing Facebook. If you guys go all the way down to our Facebook story or post, you guys can see a big difference of when I was doing it myself, which, by the way, that's a lot of work, guys. That I feel like I stayed the longest nights at Image Academy was because I had to do the flyers or the templates for like the week, and then learn more about the boosting. I just had to hit everywhere, you know, because I had rent, and I never had to pay that much rent in my whole entire life. I had bills, and at some point I knew that I had to get going. Besides that, we also had to get approved by TDLR, which that was another challenge for the school. So we opened in September, and we did not have our inspection until the ends of January the following year. So we were paying rent all those months. We were thankfully we were still doing construction and everything, which the construction was crazy. I was passing out flyers, I was cleaning up the construction, I was creating templates for social media, and finally, when we were done with the construction, we still had to wait for TDLR to approve us, and that took some time. That really took some time. So mind you, we did that in September 2022. We couldn't operate until 2023. Until February, because of course it's not TDLR came in and I had the students, right? No. Yeah, it was a challenge. Imagine having to pay all those months of rent, and I still had to pay for flyers. It was a challenge. It was a really, really good challenge. It was so worth it. So amazing. And the best decision I have ever made was to do the school, because that's what I really wanted to do. So happy, super blessed. It actually pushed me to God a lot more, to pray, because there was months where I didn't even have the money to pay the rent, and all of a sudden it was just like, oh, I forgot that I had this money. And I always say, like, I don't know how I'm doing it. I knew how I was doing it. I was praying God, and God was my biggest supporter ever. You know, it was like things were happening the best way it could ever happen. Thank God for all these big opportunities, and thank God for letting me share this journey with you guys. My next episode, it's going to be introducing you guys to our very first Image Academy instructor. She's going to be able to share her story with Image Academy, and her story with Mrs. Reels. You guys will be able to know a little bit more about me, how I like to operate with our next and very first Image Academy instructor. Hopefully you guys like, and hopefully you guys can see a little bit of more of what is Image Academy, how we started, how we want to proceed with Image Academy, what's going to be our next steps. But this is it for today, guys. Stay focused. You got it. See you guys very soon.